You're watching Famous Dave. On YouTube.
Hello, my friends, and it's wonderful to see you today. We are broadcasting today on a lovely Wednesday from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, home of the Pilgrims, and it's great to be back with you. It's been a rough couple week or so for my GameStop short. It was getting kind of depressing there for a while with just moves straight up every day. Fortunately, yesterday we had a little return to form, or at least a little sell-off. But before I get to that, let's take a look at some of this media that's come out. Now, I have a couple things here. The first one is this Reddit post, and I will put a link in the video description. And this post kind of addresses the sell-off we had yesterday. Let me just pull up the chart of the sell-off so we're all on the same page here what we're talking about. So you can see you had this kind of move up that took 2 sessions, and we kind of gave it back yesterday. So that's all it really is. It's just it erased 2 days. It's not like we've really moved a whole lot lower here. We just kind of erased this big rally. And there was no real catalyst for this rally. It was just kind of like nothing was going on. A bunch of people kind of bum rushed the stock, and it cruised higher. And then it kind of gave things back. And we noticed that AMC followed a similar course. These stocks are not always lockstep, but often they follow a similar course. And some of the media was talking about this being related to a rise in interest rates and people going risk off and moving out of stocks and into bonds. I don't know how much of that is true or not, and it's really hard to tell. But a Redditor came out with a response yesterday to this down move that's just hilarious. So let's take a look at it. The MOASS is upon us for real. And all of this is just, way out there. The narrative here is that somehow one day at some moment we are going to just explode to like 100,000 in the stock. But the thing is like most of these people who are talking about this seem to already have bought all the shares that they want to buy, and they're just holding on to them. And for a stock to move up, it takes lots of people buying it, right? If a stock is going to trade 100,000, you need somebody who's willing to pay 98,000, 97,000, 96,000. And according to this guy, there's going to be no warning in the charts. All of a sudden, you're just going to kind of wake up and they're all going to be rich, right? So, yeah, it's a great idea of wishful thinking. It's like the idea is like, well, since we're long this, the only way we could get really rich is if it went way up. So we'll just come up with something that will make it go way up. And I'm not going to read this all to you. You're welcome to read it if you want to. But essentially he goes through, and this part's kind of interesting to me, he goes through different sections of the chart and talks about how he sees manipulation behind every door, and every move down is somehow illegal or unethical, or it's not possible that someone just wanted to sell this. It's like if it moves down, it's because someone is trying to manipulate him and hurt his shares, or everybody who's long it. So he sees in every move in these charts, he sees conspiracy. And it's hilarious. It's worth a read. And it's us against them, and we showed them. And the funniest thing is, like, even when it goes down, it's cheered. The stock sells off, and everyone's like, "Yes, we can buy more." But anyways, this is hilarious and will go down in history as a hilarious thing, regardless of what the stock does. It's not going to 100,000. It's not even going to 1,000. Does it take out the high from January? Maybe someday, but not anytime soon. It's having a hard time staying above 200, it seems to me. Notice how the recent run up to 250 and then the rug pull are more concentrated, violent, and chaotic than like January, instead of slow, angled runs with huge top wicks. I believe MOASS is upon us. I have no clue what that means, what it'll look like, or when the peak is, or what day it'll go above 1K or 10K or 100 million. This is an unprecedented, never witnessed before event, and it will never be actually witnessed because it's not going to happen. There could be a huge pre-market spike to 100K. Now, for it to go to 100K, once again, people have to go in and buy it, right? And you would need the total float of the company to like change hands several 100 times for it to get that high. And so not only do you need people who are willing to buy it, you need people who just have no interest in selling, even if they triple, quadruple, quintuple their money, which is contradicted often in the chats with people saying, well, I hope it gets back to 256 so I can get out. Hedgie's got more tricks, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, and then this DRS stuff. What DRS means is it's registering your shares directly so that no company, if you don't have your shares stored at some sort of brokerage firm, then nobody can borrow those shares to use them to short. So the idea is you register your shares directly, then they aren't available as part of the short interest, which doesn't help you if you're long. It just makes things less liquid. So it means the moves to the upside are going to be bigger and the moves to the downside are going to be bigger. It just takes liquidity out of the market. So not really a good thing. All right, so here's one article, and this you could call a bullish article, right? They think it's going to 100 million, the share price. So I would characterize that as bullish. Let's take a look now at a bearish article on the same stock. So if we go back to our StockTwits here, I found a nice bearish article earlier today. Let's see if we can find it here. And, I've been staying off social media because pretty much everybody attacks me, anything I say on here. So it's just, and I'm not trying to goad people. I'm not trying to goad people into attacking me. And I don't want to attack other people. I'm supposed to be trying to be educational. And I'm not trying to convince anybody to be short this because, that's up to them. But when I see this stuff that just sounds crazy, I just keep my mouth shut now because otherwise I just get attacked. It's not fun. All right, so let's find this article about that's kind of on the short side, and it's coming up right here. And this kind of goes through the case. Game over for GameStop, and it kind of goes through the history of the stock, the short interest, starting with short interest and the spikes in January. And then it makes an assessment of where the company is now, the fact that they were able to cancel out their long-term debt by floating more shares. And it talks about how many of these concepts are being misunderstood. For example, a synthetic, right? If you buy a call and sell a put, it's the same thing as being long shares of a stock, right? But you're still putting risk out there in the marketplace. If you buy a synthetic from somebody, someone has to sell it to you, and most likely, if someone sells you a synthetic, selling one call and buying one put, that's going to be the same as being short 100 shares. And so most likely, if somebody sells you a synthetic, they're going to buy 100 shares to hedge themselves on the trade. And maybe they lock in 25 cents, and that's the sum total. So there's no just something being created out of nothing there. It's just an options trade that is the same as being short stock, but you still have the same risk. And if somebody takes the other side of that trade, they're probably going to hedge it with shares. And these ideas that somehow there's just shares out there that nobody knows about just doesn't really exist. Anyways, you can read through this article. I'm not going to convince anybody who's, part of this whole Reddit stuff. I'm not looking to convince anybody, and I'm not going to convince anybody. I find some of this article is kind of interesting, though. This guy says here, since January 2021, the management and board of directors has been replaced. Chewy co-founder and largest shareholder Ryan Cohen is now chairman. This guy says he is immature and posts crass tweets to goad the social media crowd. All the chief executives have been replaced. The new CEO was previously the head of Amazon's Australian operations. The new COO was also hired from Amazon about 6 months ago, but she recently left. It's rumored that she did not get along with the new CEO and was asked to leave, but she got to keep her multi-million-dollar signing bonus. GameStop has had consecutive quarters of losses, so there's no price-to-earnings ratio to analyze and prognosticate. Anyways, it goes through the earnings. It talks about the earnings expectation. We do have earnings coming out on the 8th. The company confirmed yesterday the earnings are coming out on the 8th, and we're expecting a loss of, I think it's 50-something cents. 52 cents maybe. They missed last year. And here's kind of what a lot of the longs are sort of hanging their hat on, other than the mother of all short squeezes. There was a marked sequential increase in sales revenue from collectibles by this company. These collectibles are mostly figurines and toys associated with popular video game, TV, and movie characters. It's a business segment that GameStop seeks to significantly expand. As a natural extension of their collectibles business, they're creating an NFT, non-fungible token platform, likely to capitalize on the NFT craze for digital art. The collectibles segment may be GameStop's source of new revenue growth. However, we do not know what the profit margins will look like. The startup costs of the NFT marketplace may be quite high, yielding significant losses over several quarters. The collectibles business makes GameStop a hybrid of a video game and toy store, which it would have to compete with the same retailers as its video game business. Now, let's just talk about NFTs for a second. People hear NFTs and they think big money, changing hands, the wave of the future. I went and looked at some NFT sites where you can buy and sell NFTs. And basically an NFT is a receipt for something, right, that's in the blockchain. So there's a picture of Kobe Bryant. There's a clip of Kobe Bryant scoring a basket, and you get the receipt for that. And there's only one receipt for that in the world, and you can get it, and it changes hands, and it goes up in value as more people want it. I looked on one of these sites, and the most expensive NFTs were like cartoon pictures of a different monkey drawn in a cartoon, and all the different pictures of the monkey had higher and higher values. My point being that it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, maybe really rich people are buying these things because they think it's cool, but most people have more to spend their money on than a receipt for a digital picture. And I don't see the NFT world really going all that far in its current state. And people who buy, I think people who spent $300,000 on NFT are idiots, and they're going to realize that at some point soon. So that's kind of where I stand there. All right, let's get back to the market real quick. And yeah, the stock chart really defies technical analysis for GameStop. I mean, we really just completely exploded to the upside here over the last couple sessions. Let me get out of the way here. And so if you look at like a yearly chart, it looks extremely bullish right now, right? Because we've just continued to move higher on no news. Now there's the news that's come out has essentially been GameStop has been hiring people that have to do with cryptocurrency and to do with NFTs. That's like the big news story, that yes, they're getting into NFTs and they're getting into crypto. And that's moved the stock higher and higher, but I just don't think there's anything there. I just don't get it. And there has to be there's some component of this moving higher that's all of the legion of fans of GameStop here who kind of bought into this and the initial move in January, and now are kind of just sticking. They've decided they're just going to stick with it regardless of changing of the changing situation. They're just going to stick with the stock forever and ever and ever. And this is not surprising, because this happens a lot with new traders, is that you get married to a position, and if it starts to go against you, you can't get out. Now, I can be accused of that right now too, because I'm short and it's been going against me. It's been hurting me more than it's been hurting the longs for now. But we'll see if that trend continues. Certainly a big move yesterday. I don't know if we'll bounce back from here. The overall market looks to be kind of selling off at the moment, small. But I mean, here's the chart of the E-minis. So a little curve down right now doesn't really mean anything, right? NASDAQ, same thing. A little down move doesn't really take away from this amazing rally we've had this year. But we'll see what happens. If we look at the last 5 days in GameStop, it's definitely is helpful to me being short that we had this big sell-off here, but what it means in the grand scheme of things is not clear at the moment. Anyway, that's kind of where I stand. Like I said, I'm kind of avoiding social media at the moment, because anytime I post anything that's not entirely bullish, I'm just attacked and demonized, and I'm trying to scam and I'm trying to manipulate and all this other stuff. So it's a strange environment. The new wave of meme quote unquote traders, I wouldn't really call them traders, because they're just buy and hold guys who are long side only buy and hold guys who are just married to this idea that the stock they pick is going to go up regardless. And it kind of transfers from stock to stock. It's not really based on fundamentals or anything. It's just based on this belief that we're all in this together against the big bad government and all that. And I get that. I understand that feeling of rebellion and that feeling of fighting against Big Brother and being a rebel and all that stuff. But I think that GameStop is a story that's already happened, and the mother of all short squeezes was that short squeeze when we went from basically 38 to 400. That was a huge short squeeze, one of the biggest, most notable of all time. And to expect that lightning's going to strike twice, especially when there's not short interest, is deceiving yourself. I think that these rallies that we've had in this are just based on hype. And unless the company actually does turn itself around, which is going to take a while, we're going to see this either flatline or move lower. Obviously, I had that opinion or I wouldn't be short. But there you go. Rambling about an individual stock. I know we've come a long way from the VIX recently, but hope to get back to it. I don't know if you guys caught me on Volatility Views a week ago, but I had fun with the gang over there at Options Insider Radio. Check them out, and we'll see what happens from here. Once again, I am long the 170, 160, and the 175, 165 put spreads in GameStop in February. We're a long way from at the money still, but yesterday helped. Another $30 down day, and will really be cooking with gas. We'll see if we get a sell-off today. Thanks for checking out my show, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys on the chat, nice to see you. I'll talk to you soon.